I was the first one to not recommend an Apple Watch. The first generation model promised a lot but was too clunky to deliver, and it didn't really age well for the $400 that I paid for it. It was a huge letdown, but so has every single first generation Apple product. Version 2 is usually where it's worth investing, and now it's time to prove that right or wrong. I'm Jaime Rivera with Pocketnow, and this is our review of the Apple Watch Series 2. So let me begin by saying the most important fact about the Apple Watch Series 2. Everything that Apple said that the first watch could do and sucked at, well, Series 2 actually can. Visually, the new variant is almost identical to last year's model, and that's actually not a bad thing. These similarities mean that the current watch bands and some accessories work with it just fine, in case you want to upgrade. We chose to try the woven nylon band that Apple sells as a complement to the sport band during the day, but keep in mind that there are a ton of third-party solutions from Amazon that look just as great and work just fine on Series 2. Really, to tell them apart, you need to notice that there's a second microphone on the left side, because the added millimeter in thickness is indistinguishable, and the same can be said about the thicker glass on the new model. So if you're asking yourself, why should you upgrade if these watches are so much alike? Well, because everything that changed is actually important. The main complaint about the first Apple Watch is that it was too clunky. I mean, the whole selling point was that it could run applications, but then these wouldn't load or would take forever. Apple's new S2 chip addresses this with dual-core performance, and the results are just night and day when compared to last year's model. The second complaint was that the screen was too dim for those of you using the sapphire glass variant, and to address that, the brightness has nearly doubled, so much so that in the case of my Ion X variant, I use it at minimum brightness and I'm just fine with it. The third complaint was durability and accuracy, where the composite back would scratch so bad that sensors were just totally unreliable. Series 2 now includes a ceramic back across all models for scratch resistance, though notice I said Series 2. The new Series 1 sticks to the composite materials, and I personally do not recommend them. Lastly, the first model was supposed to serve for phone calls, and yes, they were terrible. Series 2 includes a new and very impressive speaker that not only sounds well, but people on the other end of the call could not really tell that I was using the watch, and there's even a nifty new feature that clears water from the speaker through sound. And why clear out water? Well, because Apple Watch Series 2 takes fitness activities a lot more seriously. It's now water resistant up to 50 meters to support swimming, and has grown up to include GPS tracking for outdoor activities. In my testing running outdoors, I've noticed that the watch takes around half a mile for the GPS to catch up with my phone comparisons, but after that, it's extremely accurate. Still, you don't really need to bring a phone now that you have a GPS. Just use the built-in 6 GB of storage to sync your music, and pair your favorite Bluetooth headphones and leave the extra smartphone bulk behind. The battery will last around 5 hours of GPS tracking, which matches your typical Garmin. But for everything else, I'm really impressed with battery life. With a standard hour to 2 hours of fitness activities every day, I usually end with around 60 to 50% of battery life left, which makes it even convenient for sleep tracking. What I usually do is just charge it the next day when I shower, and it tops it off just fine by the time I'm done. Now, for those of you asking just how much I enjoy using Apple Watch Series 2 for everything else, my response is a little mixed. watchOS 3 plays a major role in me liking it a little more. The new dock feature on the side button is really convenient for multitasking and making more sense than the contacts being there in the past. I also love that you can switch your watch face with a simple slide to the left or right. But I won't lie, there are other features like, for example, the digital crown that I rarely use, though it doesn't mean that it's not nice to have them around. And then there are the little things that I loved about the first model, like the ability to very accurately detect when I raise my wrist or when I put my wrist down, and how it automatically locks itself the moment you take it off, and you can unlock it with Touch ID as well, something really cool. Now, where I still feel that the Apple Watch Series 2 fails in comparison to every other smartwatch is in the basics, like notifications, for example, where it's just extremely annoying to always get an animated icon and be interrupted by the icon every time you're trying to read a message. I feel that Apple really needs to redo the whole concept of how notifications work. And as for applications, I have to admit that I rarely use them. Sure, they launch faster, but the experience is still too cramped for me to prefer using this than to pull the phone out. About the only exceptions are when I use Siri for Apple Maps for walking directions in the city, and controlling HomeKit from the watch, and also keeping up with my daily activities. Maybe your usage scenario changes, but at least for me, this smartwatch is really not for the apps, and again, notifications really need to go back to the drawing board. And I guess this specific argument is the perfect way to conclude. Fact of the matter is, you don't really need an Apple Watch, or even a smartwatch for that matter. But we do have to be fair and clarify that there are certain things that the watch will do better than your phone. A smartphone was simply not designed to track your fitness activities, even if some companies try. I even find the inclusion of a heart rate sensor on certain smartphones to be a gimmick. You really need permanent tracking for this to be done right. But then again, there are also less expensive fitness trackers that can do this if you don't want to pay so much for the Apple Watch. Probably the main selling point for the Apple Watch is just how well it works in just about everything. Swap a band to go to the gym, swap another to go to work, have all those statistics combined in one place, and have these on a watch that can do far more than just fitness. If you're upgrading, I highly suggest that you sell your old Apple Watch on eBay and get this one. As I said at the beginning, the Apple Watch Series 2 is finally what Apple promised that the first one should have always been. But it's not necessarily the only smartwatch that works with an iPhone. Folks, just like this, we've got more reviews in the pipeline, so make sure you follow us on social media and hit that subscribe button down below for more videos like this one. You can also catch our videos on vessel.com/Pocketnow, and follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera, on Instagram at Jaime Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.